You won't believe what the US government is doing to purchase Bitcoin and XRP. In addition, Ripple has released a new study about financial services and tokenization, which is something we should discuss. Of course, I cover all of that and much more in this video, so watch it through to the end. I know everything you need to know about today's events involving Ripple and XRP. First, let's listen to Jay Claver discuss how to make transactions on the XRP ledger more efficient. Does it make more sense for XRP to be expensive, so that the network fee remains the same, and more money can move for less XRP when the price of XRP increases? For instance, if XRP was worth $1 instead of what it is now, it would be worth more than that to move a dollar. But in this case, you'd need 1 million XRP. David Schwartz then said, "You know, a million XRP can move $1 million, or if each XRP was worth $1 million, then you only need 1 XRP to move $1 million. This indicates that as asset prices rise, the network and asset become much more efficient. It's actually programmed to reach some of its most efficient levels around $10,000, which is where I believe it will be in the next 48 months, or possibly less than 24 months. The next time Jake will be released is unknown because this video was taken a while ago. It appears to have been released on April 14th, but Jake appears a little younger in it. I'm not sure if this was last year or not. I'm not sure what it is, but $10,000 in the next 2 years. Or perhaps Jake just looks really young in that clip. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments section. The market for tokenized financial assets is expanding at a very rapid pace. This year, tokenized assets are expected to be valued at $6 trillion with a $19 trillion valuation. What I'm not understanding is that a recent study by Ripple and BCG on tokens examines how tokenization will proceed. Let's just discuss these particulars. Tokenization of financial assets combines traditional and decentralized finance by representing real-world assets as blockchain-based coins. This enables financial institutions to operate more effectively and provides them with new sources of liquidity. As partners and issuers progress through the 3 stages of tokenization adoption, the XRP ledger is a real-world asset tokenization tool that maximizes these advantages. Step 1, low-risk adoption, is when banks and investment firms actively use well-known products as test cases to determine whether they are prepared to receive immediate operational benefits. Provide fundamental frameworks, such a location to keep digital assets. We already know that Ripple Custody was once a medical facility. Yes, Medico is now known as Ripple Custody. In case you were unaware, this is the technology that blockchain is now providing banks with when they create their own safe coins. We have discussed this topic extensively, but given the high level of risk associated with that safe coin, it doesn't make sense for many banks to do this on their own. It also doesn't make sense for a bank that isn't really involved in blockchain to come and create their own blockchain or token on another blockchain, and you know that they will be at risk if something were to happen to that ticket, as long as they use Ripple for custody or to release their own safe coin. Institutional growth organizations frequently begin tokenizing more complex assets with more stringent regulations, which can potentially open up additional value and gains, just in case something goes wrong in the second phase. In the final step, which is what I mean, there should be much more than $19 trillion by 2033 if all of these banks are going to upgrade their infrastructure and tokenize stocks, bonds, and derivatives. Additionally, as the market changes during this phase, things that are typically difficult to sell can be turned into tokens, which is a system-level reinvention. It becomes common for companies to share equipment and collaborate across the entire industry, and profitability sets the tone for the next generation of finance. Clear rules, more sophisticated platforms, and a dedication to challenging traditional income streams are necessary for momentum to continue. You also brought up safe coins. I think that Ripple is using smaller numbers because they don't want to be called out for saying things like Ripple said 50 trillion, But if you ask Raoul Pal, he will say that thinks the market will be worth 100 trillion zero cents by 2033. That's interesting, right, to see what the low or high end of those guesses is. And I'm wondering if we'll really have half of the stocks or a quarter of the stocks on blockchain, and the rest on the old system. We are not going to move all of this in one big swoop. Is it going to drip? Are we to add one new stock every day? Is it all going to happen at once? I think that once the machinery is set up, that everything will happen at once. I know that my opinion will change based on who I talk to and gets this information, so please let me know what yours is. So tell me what you think in the description. Please tell me more about where you think this is going on. Top of that, it talks about the pros of tokenization in banking services. The global financial system is still built on infrastructure that is decades old, slow, and more out of step with the demands of contemporary markets, clients, and capital movement, notwithstanding minor advancements. By transforming real-world assets into tradable tokens, tokenization, a significant shift that transforms traditional financial tools into software that can be swiftly programmed and altered, improves accessibility and liquidity by enabling asset transfers around the clock with nearly instantaneous payment and atomic compliance through smart contracts. This speeds up transactions, reduces the need for middlemen, and expands market access. Financial firms benefit from lower costs, quicker settlement, and more investors reach customers with better security and the opportunity to own a portion of assets that perform better, which increases the likelihood of fractional ownership. People have never been able to purchase 0.1, 0, 2, or half of a stock before. I assumed that it was always one or nothing. Since you can't own half of a stock, I believe tokenization and fractional control will allow you to do just that. So if you're just starting out, say at age 18 or 19, and you want to make sure that the money you make goes to your favorite company or something, you might be able to buy, say, a tenth of an Apple stock share or half of a share every time you get paid. There are also opportunities to own a piece of real estate. Yes, as you read this picture, 20 or 30 or 50 people are able to buy a house instead of just one. So you know that some people can't afford to buy their own home and either live in it or rent it out, but they still want to be able to start having real estate, so that's a great way to start. It also provides some examples of tokenization, so if you'd like to look at this on your own, you'll be able to see it.